guys, this is Courtney from Willows Bloom, and today I'm going to talk to you about what is going on in the astrology for September. And I'm super excited to chat with you guys about this and go over it for all of the signs. It's probably going to take me a second. It's my first video doing this for all of the signs for the whole month. So I'm just trying to find my footing and see how I can do it in the most timely way possible. Okay, so before I get started, I just wanted to let you guys know I'm not going to really be talking about the moons this month because I will still come out with my new and full moon videos for all the signs. So I'm going to go over that in explicit detail. Explicit? Is that the right word? I feel like that's not the right word. I'm going to go over it in detail in the other videos, so let's not harp on it here. Okay, so let's go ahead and start off. All right, up next we have Libra and Libra Rising. So before I get into it, I just wanted to mention that I am talking about this monthly forecast and I'm breaking it down by planet. So the dates might seem like they're all over the place because I'm going in chronological order, but it's by planet. So I'm going to do my best to hopefully make this make sense and more of a storyline for you guys. But if you don't like this method and you would like me to just go in chronological order and not do it by planet, then let me know in the description box below. Okay, so Libra, for you guys, the sun is going to be transiting through your 12th house in Virgo for the majority of the month until the 22nd when it moves into your first house. So normally what I see when the sun is transiting through our 12th house is kind of like this internalization of our energy. We start to go inward, reflect. We start to feel often a bit more tired at this time because it's our time to prepare for a new season, which is your season on the 22nd when the sun moves into your first house. On the 6th of the month, the sun is going to make a trine to Uranus, which is in your 8th house. This could be a time when you start to have more realizations about some of the things that you want to wrap up in this chapter. Another way of looking at this or visualizing it is if we're starting a new cycle, the 12th house is the ending of that previous cycle. And on the 22nd, you will start anew. And so sometimes, especially around the 6th, you're going to start to realize what you don't want to carry energetically into this new cycle. The cycle is 12 months long. So having an entire month where you can focus on kind of wrapping up loose ends, or you can focus on reflecting, integrating, understanding past events, resting, all of those things are going to be highlighted at this time. And on the 6th of the month, when the sun trines Uranus in your 8th house, this is a really good time to do more of that shadow work and start to look back on maybe some of the negative experiences you've had during this month. And this trine is essentially indicating a positive shift or a release of some of those negativities so that the energy is much lighter, much freer, much more mutable or flexible as the month moves on, as the sun moves into your first house. On the 14th, the sun is going to be opposing Neptune, which is in your 6th house. So around this time, you guys might find that your vitality is a little bit lower. The 6th and the 12th house often have to do with our physical health and well-being, especially our mental well-being. So you might find that you're having a little bit more of brain fog, or you feel a little bit less engaged in your work and your daily routines. This is a really great time around the middle of the month to tap more into your softer, intuitive side, to be watching movies, using your imagination and creativity, immersing yourself in books, and not trying so hard to push yourself physically or even mentally at this time. Then the 16th, just 2 days later, the sun makes a trine to Pluto in your 4th house. And I feel like this is going to be a really revitalizing and strengthening energy after having this experience of being a little bit more tired, a little bit more lethargic, and needing a little bit more respite. So you're going to strengthen your drive at this time. Although I do feel like the trine to Pluto is not just going to be about physical well-being. I think it's also going to relate to you guys having a deeper understanding of how your family or your home life has impacted you, and some of those things that you're wanting to release, as I was mentioning, some of those loose ends that you want to wrap up. I think you'll start to notice how your home or your family or your emotional foundations has played a role in that. And it's kind of like a really this is a powerful transit for psychological work. Pluto helps us to go deeper, and being in the fourth house, it helps us to tap into things that have been rooted into our unconscious mind, especially because the sun is in the 12th house of the unconscious mind or subconscious. So it's a really great time to explore some deeper emotions, deeper desires, and basically eliminate anything that isn't in line with what you want to bring into the next chapter. On the 29th of the month, the sun is going to trine Saturn in your fifth house. So this is a time when the sun has already moved into your first house. So I feel like this is going to be when you start to emerge as a social butterfly and you start to more actively pursue things that you desire. So this can stimulate some level of commitment to you kind of going after anything that's fifth house related. So for some people, this is children. For some people, this is romance or dating. For some people, it's starting a business or pursuing creativity or certain hobbies. Whatever it is that interests you, this is asking you to step up and commit to it in some way. And yeah, I think you'll find that you're revitalized or a lot happier once you actually put your energy towards that. So that's really positive. Let's talk a little bit about Mercury. So Mercury is the planet of thinking and communication. And so you can expect your mind to be really focused on yourself because Mercury will be in your first house until November 5th. So it's here for a long time, which means that it's going retrograde in your sign. And so whenever a planet goes retrograde, especially in your first house or in your sign, there is a chance for you guys to review or redo something about yourself and your life, to re-examine aspects of it. So let me talk about that in a second because that's not coming till the end of the month. So before that point in time, when Mercury is direct in your house, on the 4th, it's going to be trining Saturn in your 5th. So this is a time when you can have good ideas come in around any of your responsibilities. You can have a more uplifted mindset in that area. So like if you, for example, have more commitment in your life around any of those things that I was just mentioning, like your passion projects, your business, your children, your romance, whatever it is like you're wanting to maybe give a little bit more and dedicate a little bit more to, having Mercury trine Saturn on the 4th is indicating that your mindset is going to be right there with you. So you are going to be focused on it. You're going to have more persistence or more dedication to kind of pursue those things that are interesting you. On the 20th, Mercury is going to make a trine to Jupiter in the 5th house as well. So this is a time when any past efforts regarding that one of those areas of your life starts to kind of bear fruit or show more opportunities coming or more ideas coming through. It's just a fruitful time. I know I just used that word, but it's a time when you feel like there is more abundance around you. And I think this is going to increase your mindset and also make you much more social, much more outgoing, much more confident in yourself and in your abilities and skills. On the 22nd, when the sun does move into your first house, this is the same day that Mercury is going to be making a square to Pluto. So this to me is kind of an intense energy because you guys are going to have a focus on yourself already with the sun being in your first house. And then when Mercury squares Pluto, you might find that some people, especially family members, but it doesn't have to be family members, but you might find that some people are kind of testing you emotionally, or they don't agree with your ideas, especially coming from family members. Like you want to do something and your family's like, I don't think that's a good idea, or they want you to do something. Like there's some disagreement of the way that you're leading your life and the way that they think you should lead your life. Again, it doesn't have to be family members, but I think for a few Libra risings, that is going to be the case specifically with family. If it's not with your family, it could be anyone in your household, anyone that you feel really close to, that you feel like knows you on a deeper emotional level. Or it could be just general circumstances that are more trying to you, that are kind of getting inside your head, possibly making you question yourself or need to change your perspective in some way. And so I think you could be a little bit tested around that time in terms of your mind and what you're thinking. And then on the 27th, you're going to have Mercury retrograde in your sign in the first house. So as I was mentioning, this is a big deal. So this is kind of like you going back and looking through the files of your life, all the different areas of life, and asking yourself, what do I want to change? What has worked for me? What hasn't worked for me? And really going back and finishing up maybe old things that you have wanted to start, or you've already started and finishing them up. It's also a good time to, I guess, just kind of reassess your perspective or your mindset in different areas of your life and ask yourself if you want to still carry over that perspective or not. It doesn't have to be like just mindset, because Mercury can be a lot of activities that we have to do. Basically, anything related to your life, your activities, your personality, your choices, your beliefs, your thoughts. On the 27th, that's your opportunity to go back. It's going to be retrograde. I'm not sure for how long it's retrograde for, but you're going to have a span of time where you have the opportunity to go back and re-examine those issues and finish up those old things, finish up old issues that you might have had with other people, especially if you've had issues with your family that did occur on the 22nd. This is a good time to kind of go and resolve those, or fix anything that has been like an old festering wound type of deal. It's so weird because pretty much most of the groups have been getting this communication card. So I do feel like for you, since Mercury is going to be in your sign, in your first house, this is always an opportunity to work on your style of communication. So when Mercury does square Pluto on the 22nd, maybe it's not about changing your mind, but changing the way that you express yourself and express your ideas and communicate about difficult issues or things that people don't necessarily see eye to eye with you on. There's definitely some point of contention that can occur with other people, and I feel like communication is going to be key to resolving those issues. And for some of you, it might not resolve politely or correctly or well, but then others of you, I think you'll make some strides or some progress and feel closer with the person after being able to communicate in an effective way. I also pulled the energy card, which to me is really indicating that you're going to have a lot more vitality when the sun moves into your house on the 22nd of the month, into your first house. So this is when you are going to be much stronger, much more active. You're going to have a light shown on your body and on your life. So in terms of making like physical differences, like trying to do new workout routines or change your appearance, I would definitely wait until after the 22nd. You guys are going to have Mars in Virgo, which is in your 12th house again, and it's going to move into your first house on the 14th. So this is again a sign of when you might have a lot of vitality. So if you're not, so you either will feel it, like I feel like basically the Mars and the Sun are both around vitality. The Sun is our overall well-being, while Mars is our level of energy. So the fact that this says energy is indicating to me that you're going to have your biggest bursts of energy, sustained energy, around the 14th of the month when it shifts into your sign. And before that, you might feel like a little bit, again, more lethargic when it's in your 12th house, especially because on the 1st of the month, Mars is opposing Neptune, which automatically brings down the energy levels. Neptune kind of dissolves what it touches, and Mars being this really big fiery planet, it wants to expand, it wants to like burn through things, and Mars is kind of like dumping a bucket of water onto it. So if you're feeling tired the first half of the month, especially around the 1st of the month, that's really normal. On the 6th, Mars will trine Pluto, so even if you are feeling a little bit more lethargic, I think that you'll actually feel a little bit better around the 6th. If it's not in terms of energy with Mars trine Pluto, I feel like you are going to be much more ruthless in terms of cutting out old things, and much more ambitious, because I feel like you'll know that you want to cut out some things or make different decisions or wrap up old things because of your ambitions, because of your desire to move forward in your life, your desire to achieve certain things. Even though around the 6th, it's not necessarily the time to do that. It's more so around the middle of the month, towards the end of the month, when you're supposed to actualize all of that. The beginning of the month is like cutting out the fat, reviewing things, understanding yourself, reflecting, like I was saying. So on the 6th, when Mars trines Pluto, you'll have the ability and the energy to tap into some of these old habits, old cycles, and you'll be able to make really massive changes because the Sun also trines Uranus on that day. So in terms of following your desires, utilize your desires on the 6th to understand what isn't working or what isn't in alignment with you achieving those desires. Basically not having things in your life that are going to hold you back. and making any shifts around what is holding you back on the 6th are going to be really key. On the 25th, Mars is going to make a trine to Saturn. So this is when Mars is already in your first house and it's trining Saturn in your 5th house. So this can be a really good time to dedicate to any long-term projects that you have going on, or anything that involves basically anything long-term, anything that involves consistent, dedicated effort for you to reap the rewards of it later on. So if you've been thinking about making something, creating something, or having something work for you long-term, whether that's in regards to your physical health, in regards to your family, in regards to your projects, whatever it is, this is your time to go all in, to put in all the effort, and then you're going to see rewards based off of, you know, what effort you're putting in at this time. So and again, the end of the month, even a little bit in the middle of the month, is your time to shine, is your time to step up and start putting all your energy into your projects. So don't waste that opportunity. I did want to talk about two of the cards that let me just talk about one of them and then I'll get to the last card in a second. But I pulled a card for you that has the King of Wands, which says leadership. So to me, this is really talking about Mars moving into your first house. You guys feeling really passionate. It's paired with this desire card. That's what wands are. It's our level of desire, our level of passion, excitement about something. So you guys are mastering it. You're becoming the king of it. You are taking your desires and manifesting them outwards? Externally. So I feel like that's one of the biggest themes for this month. But again, I feel like it's more towards the end of the month or the middle end of the month that this becomes really obvious and really clear for you. So use the first half of the month to do that purge, the second half of the month to step into this really passionate, desirous nature and putting energy outward in order to create something from those desires. All right, let's talk about relationships. Let's talk about love, money, that kind of thing with Venus. So you guys are going to have Venus in Libra, which is, again, your sign. So it's going to be in the first house until the 10th, when it's going to move into Scorpio, which is your second house. So Venus being in your sign is so beautiful for attracting love and relationships and money and good looks. It's one of my favorite transits. When the Venus hits your sun, when Venus hits your moon, Venus hits your Venus, or Venus is in your first house, all those times are when you're going to feel more so at your best. However, when it is in your first house, that first week of September, it is undergoing a little bit of tension. On the 5th of the month, Venus is making a square to Pluto. To me, this is indicating some kind of need to shift your relationships. There is some imbalance in relationships between giving and receiving. One person is more controlling or more manipulative, or people are not treating you the way that you deserve. It becomes very clear in how your relationships with either people or money or both have become imbalanced, unproductive, or unhealthy or unhelpful. So on the 5th, that's going to be really highlighted for you to desire change, to need change. And luckily the next day Venus is trining Jupiter. So this is your opportunity. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to say on the 5th, this could, since Pluto's in your 4th house, this could really be highlighted with family, but it doesn't have to be from family. On the 6th, Venus trines Jupiter. So just a day later, you're going to have this energy kind of come in and calm the current circumstances. So Jupiter comes in and says, okay, I know that this was really difficult for you, but here's an opportunity for learning. Here's an opportunity for growth. Here's how we can either mend the situation or make a change to that relationship so you don't have to relive this with anybody else. So that's going to feel like a sense of freedom in that, a sense of betterment and improvement. And then on the 17th, Venus is going to make a square to Saturn. By this time, it's going to be in your second house. So finances might be more restricted at this time. You might feel like you have to work a little bit harder than normal to make money come to you. You might find that an investment has left your pockets a little bit tighter than normal. You might just find that you have to just put a little bit more responsibility into budgeting and being careful about your resources. So just be mindful of that. Not that you shouldn't invest and shouldn't do stuff, but the circumstances present could result in having tighter finances. On the 23rd, Venus will oppose Uranus. And so you might find that there is a need to create some kind of change in your finances, or there can be a change thrust upon you in the sense that sometimes there will be like some debt that has come up that you have to pay that's unexpected. Some bills or some issues with your house, some investments are not going as you hoped. There can be like a sudden shift in finances because it's in the second house at that time. It doesn't have to be finances per se, it could be related to more intrinsic values, the way you view yourself, your worthiness internally, your confidence, and your relationships could kind of affect that in an unexpected way. Your level of commitment to something could be shifted. But overall, I generally see this manifesting as something often monetary. On the 29th, you're going to have Venus make a trine to Neptune, and on the 30th, Venus is squaring Jupiter. To me, this is so beautiful in terms of feeling much more positive in our confidence, much more positive in our relationships, more optimistic about life in general. You're probably going to be feeling more optimistic about finances. I do want to say, given these last 4 transits that I just mentioned with Venus, you need to be careful with your finances. Pretty much after like the 17th and onward are not good times for money. So Venus trining Neptune, although it's emotionally positive, Neptune in aspect with a money planet or with the second house can mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be negative, especially as a trine, but sometimes it can mean that there is a financial loss or a possibility of not having a full grasp on where your money is coming and going or the extent of spending. Especially with Venus squaring Jupiter the next day, there can be an extravagance. You can desire more things. I want to eat out. I want to buy this. I want to do that. And like the spendthrift in you can come out even if you normally are more careful with your budget. So I'm just going to say just be a lot more careful with your money towards the end of the month. Even if your money is generally good, it can affect everyone in some respect. The last thing I want to talk about is this Tower card. It says upheaval. So this is often come across as pretty negative in tarot in the sense that people see a burning building and it's something that says upheaval and they're like, okay, my life is going down. That's not the feeling that I get from this though. It's paired with the King of Wands. So I am getting this feeling that whatever is breaking away, which in the first half of the month, whatever becomes so the visual that just came to mind is if you guys scuba dive or if you snorkel, I love scuba diving. It's my favorite thing in the world. But if you scuba dive and you're kind of new and you don't really know how to like position yourself, you can oftentimes, especially if you don't have enough air in your your jacket thing, I forget what it's called right now. You basically will sink towards the bottom and you can like use your flippers and you could kick up sand and kick up dirt and then it's hard to see. And after it settles, of course it's going to look, I mean, it probably look the same in the ocean, but in terms of your life, like the sand isn't going to settle in the same place. It's going to settle in a different spot. It's going to look a little bit different if you actually memorize or know that terrain, just like your life. So this Tower, this upheaval card to me is saying that the first half of the month is you diving deep into the recesses of your mind and starting to throw away or kick up some sand around certain issues. Like, hey, this relationship, like I know I've been kind of leaving it to the side, but it's actually a little bit triggering, or it's actually not that supportive. Or hey, my money spending habits, I know I haven't been looking at those, but if I'm being honest with myself, I'm not doing as good as I would like to. So it's like examining these areas that maybe were settled before and unsettling them and making them feel uncomfortable. The sense of upheaval can happen as you try to resolve old things, as you try to wrap up those old things so that you don't carry with them in the new cycle. I think that could be a heavy feeling or energy at the beginning of the month. And then you're shifting into this King of Wands with this leadership card where you become the leader of your own life. You cut off those old things. The dust settles or the sand settles in a new way. Your new terrain looks totally different. And then you're excited about going out and exploring it and really mastering this new energy in your life and using this as a catalyst to help you promote or work on anything that you're really desiring. Because with Mars in the first, the Sun in the first, in the middle or latter half of the month, it's giving you the spotlight and the opportunity to have the energy to pursue what you want without all these blockages. So that's what I'm seeing for you guys, Libra and Libra Rising. If this resonates, please like and comment down below. And I hope you guys have such a beautiful day. Bye.